Welcome to the Creativity Theory Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Smith. Today, my guest is Timmy Booth, comedian, old pal of mine. I mean, not old pals like we're not pals anymore, but it's been a while since we've seen each other.
And we are old.
And we are old. That's right. We're getting closer to dying every day. Before we get into it, I do have an ad I have to read. So let me pull that up real quick. Ooh, this is kind of a dense one today. Did you know that approximately 9% of the world's population goes to bed hungry every night? That's nearly 690 million people who suffer from chronic hunger and malnutrition. It's a staggering statistic that demands attention. Sadly, the problem of world hunger isn't limited to developing nations. Even in developed countries, millions of individuals struggle to access nutritious foods on a regular basis. Food insecurity affects people of all ages, including children, who are especially vulnerable to the detrimental effects of malnutrition. Luckily, you don't have to be part of these sad statistics thanks to Baby Bell cheese wheels. Made with 100% real cheese, Baby Bell is a snack that you can feel good about giving to yourself and your family. Each Baby Bell cheese wheel is individually wrapped, making it the perfect on-the-go snack for busy days, whether you're packing a lunch, heading out for a picnic, or just need a quick snack between meals. Baby Bell has got you covered. With its smooth and creamy texture, Baby Bell cheese is a treat for your taste buds. Plus, it's available in a variety of flavors, so there's something for everyone to enjoy. Whether you prefer original, light, or bold taste of sharp cheddar, Baby Bell has a flavor that will satisfy your cravings. So why go hungry when you can enjoy the delicious and convenient goodness of Baby Bell cheese? Try it today and get out of that 9%. It's your new favorite snack.
That's a good ad.
Yeah?
I can't believe you have such a big sponsor as Baby Bell.
Yeah, that was a tough one to get.
Me and my wife, fun fact about Baby Bell, it's shelf stable. You don't need to refrigerate it.
Really?
Yeah, so we bring it backpacking sometimes in the wilderness for like a little cheese boost. So even when you're in the middle of the North Cascade wilderness, you can still...
Is it because they wrap it in that like wax?
Yeah.
That keeps it stable?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
We got to ship Baby Bell out to people.
Yes, we do.
The hungry people.
Yeah, I mean, maybe your approach to the ad would have been better, you know?
I thought you did great.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna come clean. So in order to write that ad, I used ChatGPT.
You did?
I did.
Oh my gosh.
Now here's the thing. I asked ChatGPT, write me an ad copy for, let me see if I can even pull it up from here, because I think it's like I'm logged in and can look at it, the exact conversation I had with it. Log in. Oh, come on. I just remember asking it, write me an ad copy for Baby Bell cheese wheels and use an emotional appeal for using world hunger statistics as the initial hook of it. Yeah, it's asking me to log in again. I hate this thing so much. All right, whatever. I'll just go by memory. Yeah, write me an ad copy using an emotional appeal for world hunger statistics and make it for Baby Bell cheese. And so they did it, but then they made something up about for every Baby Bell cheese wheel you purchase, half the proceeds are going to go to help world hunger. And I'm like, okay. And they immediately started by mentioning Baby Bell, and that like, hey, cheese lovers, did you know that world hunger is up on the rise? So I was like, okay, write me another one, but don't mention Baby Bell or cheese until the end. You know, front load it with the world hunger statistics. And then it did it, but then it made up the same thing again. It started saying, yeah, the proceeds are going to go to world hunger. So then I was like, okay, do one more, but don't say anything about it going to help world hunger, say it's about helping your own personal hunger needs so that you're not part of the statistic. And it said, no, I'm not doing that.
It said no.
Yeah, it said as a AI language model, I'm not allowed to promote selfish behavior or something like
Jeez.
that. So I had to go on a separate chat and be like, write me Baby Wheel Cheese Wheel ad. So I
And then
took half of
combine.
one and took half of the other. Changed a few things in there, wrote a few original sentences, but thanks ChatGPT, but also go to hell.
Yeah. I just got laid off from my job as a copywriter, and I was already seeing it.
Pull this up a little bit closer to you.
Before I was laid off, we were seeing it pop in, ChatGPT everywhere.
Oh, yeah?
Like clients giving us examples they wrote in ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah.
I sent interview questions to someone, and they sent back like clear ChatGPT answers.
Wow.
It's really, and soon I just think it's going to be robots writing for robots to make business decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. So I don't know much about your copywriter job. I know you've mentioned before you've had these writer jobs. Like, didn't you say you worked for ClickHole at one point?
I work for eBombs World, which is worse.
That's right.
Yeah.
Worse. Okay. I knew it was like one of those like kind of funny websites. When did you leave that job?
They wanted me to move to New York, and I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And then I got offered, they weren't going to increase my pay or anything. So I'm like,
okay.
I just want to live in New York. But then I got this other job, and then the pandemic happened. So it was good. I didn't move to New York.
I know this is like OCD, but like, can you like straighten your mic out?
Yeah.
You sound good. It's just
Okay.
like
this?
twisted a little bit.
This
Oh, that works. That works too.
is good?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good. So sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay. So, and how long ago was that again?
It was, I had been working at this other job for 3 years, so.
Okay. So it was like
3 years ago. Yeah. I
Okay.
decided to stay in Seattle.
Got it. And so what do you do as a copywriter? Excuse me for being a little dumb.
No, so copywriting is like any sort of marketing. No, you're not dumb. That's what I meant by the no. I'll
No,
stop
I'm not
touching this
talking
mic.
about this.
No, you are like a copywriter is someone who writes marketing stuff. It could be anything. But
Okay. So that makes sense. Like you got laid off from that job because of this whole AI thing?
No.
No. Why'd you get laid off?
Just a lot of tech companies are laying people off, and that was like a tight time.
Oh.
I signed a non-disparagement clause with my work,
Oh,
but
so
not that I would say anything disparaging about them. I'm just being careful about what I'm thinking about.
That makes sense.
But it was a great place to work. I'm not even if I didn't sign a non-disparagement clause.
Did they say
I
in
don't
the
even know if I'm
non-disparagement
supposed to-
clause? You're supposed to say even if I didn't sign a non-disparagement.
Yeah, it went down like it was 400 pages long with different details about how you can and can't disparage.
Wow. Damn.
No, that's not true.
Oh.
This is you sent me something that's like, what can't you talk about? And now I'm like, I should have put
that.
But I immediately jumped in and started talking about my old job.
You
so
did. You started with I got
I'm
laid
gonna
off.
get in legal trouble.
It's not disparaging to say you got laid off. We'll move on.
It's a fact. It's a great place to work. I won't even say the name, but it's a good place.
Yeah.
You can look at my LinkedIn.
and find it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're jobless currently.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have like prospects, or are you applying for stuff? Or?
I'm getting that sweet unemployment.
Okay.
So I got to apply to 3 places a week. I just applied to Nintendo, which would be dope. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
And some other things, but I was super busy this month, and then I got laid off. I'm like, that kind of helps free me up a little, not having a job for a minute. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to work right now. It's nice.
It is nice to not have to work.
Yeah.
I feel like most of my life, starting in college has been figuring out how can I get around working as little as possible. And
Yeah.
Like, I like money. I like having it, but I really kind of do the bare minimum to have like as much as I need to live the lifestyle that I want to live. Kinda, I usually have to compromise on that somewhere.
Yeah.
But the thing that matters most to me is the time. Like I want as much free time to fuck around and make things as possible. Because if I don't have that, I become so depressed. Like, it's unreal.
Where you like want to do something, you have an idea, but you can't follow through with it because time.
Yeah. I mean, I knew going into, so I had a sales job a little over a year ago, and I worked it for 6 months, and it was like not a super strict 9 to 5, but it was 9 to 5 style. Like, I could migrate to work from home if I wanted to, but I knew if I did that, I would stop being productive at it. So I stayed in the office when I worked. And I did, like, the first 3 or 4 months, it was new to me, and I was learning, and so it was like a novel experience, and I was like going from not being good at sales to getting really good at sales, and I did like incredible, like the last month of the year, December of 2021, and like I was the top sales, I was the top account executive in sales for that month, and that company's been around for 33 years, and it was like their best month of their best year.
Wow.
Yeah. So that felt good. And then after that, I just like, I couldn't help that I didn't give a shit. Like after that, I was like,
reached the peak.
Right. I was like, I don't care to continue that trend. And it was like, then after getting to that point of improving, as I was continuing to try to make the next month, maybe not as good, but at least good enough, the conversations were so repetitive to me. It was like, I'm talking about the same thing. And like, whether it's a good conversation, they want the thing, or they don't, we're talking about the same things over and over. And I do this for 8 hours a day, essentially 5 days a week. And then by the time I get home, I'm exhausted. And then I have 2 days on the weekend and I don't feel like doing anything. This loop is so depressing. I have to end it. I would rather be financially suffering than this.
Yeah. And then suffering in that way.
Yes.
Choose your suffering.
Yes. You don't get to choose not to suffer.
Yeah. Life is suffering. Hashtag
blessed.
Blessed.
So this ChatGPT thing, do you feel like, I know this isn't why you got laid off, but do you feel like this is going to be a big problem for you?
I don't think for me, no. I think there's a certain style of writing it's going to take over very quickly, which is like, just fill in these questions and we'll write something about it. But I think if you're trying to be creative, it can help you maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it can provide an initial, like my initial thoughts about AI writing, even before ChatGPT came out, was kind of like, I think it's going to be able to help with this really left brain kind of writing. Like, it's a task, it's organized, it gets it done. But in terms of, like you were just saying, the creative element to it, there's some ability for it to be creative in quotes, but not really. Like,
and I don't know. At this point, like reading it, like you do have to do a lot of editing if you want it to be passed off as human right now, I think.
You think so?
Yeah. Like what you did combining 2 responses. Like that it couldn't have figured that out. And like, I don't know, if you keep talking to it, it like loops back around, I feel like. Like it'll have one idea in its head and like stick with it. Yeah.
Have you talked to it much?
A little bit. Yeah.
I wouldn't say I do it a whole lot, but there was one recently. I was like, I had a text exchange with someone, and it was like kind of a fight. And so I sent the text to ChatGPT. I was like, "What do you think of
who's right here?"
Well, first it was like, "What do you think of the situation?" And then at first it was kind of like, "Well, you have a point and she has a point, and this is what it is. So maybe you should take time and forgive each other." Blah blah blah. And then I was like, be brutally honest. And then it said something a little bit. And I was like, be extremely brutally honest. And then it goes, your relationship with this person is toxic and you need to stop talking to each other. And then I tried to get it to pick a side. I was like, okay, who do you think is right? And it's like, as an AI language model, I can't pick, or I can't choose a side. But I kept trying to get around it. I was like, okay, this person's whole argument, it was like, being specific about what each side was and what it thought about each side, but it wouldn't pick a side. It's like, okay, now imagine if I'm wrong. Like, I am telling you I am wrong. I'm lying about this thing, which my whole argument is predicated on. Can you still, and like, I'm telling you to pick a side, pick their side. Now rip me apart and tell me what I need to know about, and it wouldn't do it. I was like, what the fuck?
See, when you say that, when you're saying like, be extremely brutally honest, I still think it's just telling you what you want to hear. It's like, this guy wants to hear something that someone would describe as being extremely brutally honest.
Right.
Which is, this is toxic. That's not necessarily its opinion. It's just...
Right. Well, I don't know. I mean, given the context of this actual conversation, I do think that this is what a real friend would say, of like, be brutally honest with you. At first, like, yeah, you both have a point and I would take it easy. Like, be brutally honest, brother. And it's like, this is a toxic relationship. Like, fuck off. So, I mean, but I do think you're right that, the AI language model is very limited in terms of having any sense of emotional connection.
It's just like looking through its database of like times people have said, wow, that statement was brutally honest, what you just said.
Yes.
And then it's like, okay, a lot of times that statement is, this is very toxic.
Yeah.
I guess, is that still an answer it's giving? I don't know.
I don't know. It's all abstract at this point. But so you are in town for the week for
a wedding
for our buddy Giancarlo's wedding.
Giancarlo D'Alessandro, the greatest name that's ever been given to a person.
That is a good name.
He's getting married to Savannah.
Yes.
Congratulations to them both.
Give them both big hugs for me.
I'm wearing his hat, his merch.
Milk and Honey hat.
Yeah, Plug and Milk and Honey. It's a comic zine type anthology where he just reaches out to comic artists and stuff and has them submit things and then puts them together and sells them. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Well, how is Seattle? And I know this is a very bland question. I'm gonna make bad conversation for a little bit, and we'll eventually get to good conversation. I'm just nervous.
Don't like Seattle in a lot of ways. I'll be brutally honest.
You don't have a defamation.
No, the city of Seattle made me sign a non-disparagement clause, but I'll talk around it. No, it's just every time I come to North Carolina, I'm like, why don't I live here? And it's like, I miss it. The sun beating down on me right now, and probably just because it's been the winter, which is hard. But people in Seattle, very unfriendly. And when I come to the South, I'm like, man, people here sure are nice. You go to a bar, they're like, hey, buddy, you want a shot or something? It's like friendship. But if you go to a bar in Seattle, it's like you meet the people that you're there to meet. No one interacts with each other, and then you can go home. And it's like, all right, we're still in our friend group. I don't know. That's the thing about Seattle. I do like the nature, and the comedy scene is really good right now. And the fact that I have comedians to be friends with and stuff, if I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't live in Seattle. You have to have some sort of community to be a part of, or else you're just stranded socially.
And I feel like that's a very, I don't know too much about the regional differences, but being down in LA, I felt something very similar when I was there of it does not have the thing you said there, the friendship. It sounds like even the stranger bartender that you're meeting for, hey buddy, you want a shot? That's kind of how people are around here. They want to offer some sort of openness to a temporary friendship at the least.
Yeah, openness to experience or something. Right. That's it. In Seattle, people are I'm gonna go home and play video games. I'm going to go hang out with my 3 friends that are my friends. Yeah.
And LA was a version of it. It was people will be open to talk to you, but you can tell immediately. It's I want to figure out who you are and what you do and whether I can use you. If it's a no, then we're done. And, it's a lot of this human chess kind of game that people are playing there. And it's everyone's kind of like a ChatGPT. No one's got any really human emotion.
Yeah, they're running it through their connection database.
Right.
does this improve my chances of being where I want to be?
Yes. And I had an experience when I was trying to shoot a movie in the beginning of 2020, right before the pandemic hit. And I had paid an actress from Los Angeles to come shoot a role. And like, you know, we worked on a couple like videos with me. The whole like dynamic is I wanted to feel like friends hanging out, and then we just are fucking around. And we'll, you know, it's probably going to feel like chaos, and you're probably not going to be sure that what we're shooting is going to be worth a damn by the end of it. But hopefully I can edit something together. And it was a little more formal than that. Like I did have like my friend Jeff being the director of photography and had like lights and camera, all that covered. And he had some assistants, you know, Josh was helping him out, and
love Josh.
Yeah. Josh Kane, shout out Josh Kane. And Michael, my friend Michael was on the podcast, who was doing sound. So like we had a little crew. But my whole thing was like, you know, I'm friends with all these dudes and the other actors that were coming in for these little scenes. Like I'm all friends with all them, and I knew she was a stranger coming out of there. And so like I did everything I could to try to like create that openness and like friendship vibe for her. And she was so resistant to it and like repulsed by it. And so like in like 4 days, it just got worse of me like trying so hard to be like, what can I do to make this enjoyable for you? To like make this a fun experience. And I just couldn't do it. Like me trying made it worse, and then me bringing attention to the fact that I'm trying and failing made it even worse.
I feel like you should have filmed this. You're talking to the actress.
Yeah, well, so I didn't get to finish that movie because of the pandemic. Like I got a third of it done, and I've always thought if I were to go back and finish it or throw out what I did and restart, which is more likely, I think it would be so much better to like start the movie with like a little portion of what the movie was supposed to look like, and then have it switch over into this meta mockumentary style thing where it's about the making of it and trying to make this particular sequence of scenes with this actress, you know, have a different actress play her, of course, unless I could get the real
That means she's like never again.
I bet if I had money, like serious money, I bet I could maybe talk her into it. But also, I'm not sure that she would be good at having that much of a sense of humor about the situation. Because to me, I mean, I feel like my goal with remaking it would really be less to, you know, make her look bad in it, but to make me look like
the harder you try, the worse it gets.
Right. You know, I mean, there was something about the movie I was making was kind of because it was like semi about me. And then, of course, you know, I'm doing all these different roles in terms of directing and being the script writer and also the main actor in it. But I've also like hired this actress and we're doing these romantic scenes. There's just so much to like make fun of myself with it and like rip myself apart. I was like, this would be a much more entertaining version of this thing if I did it that way. But
have you seen this Aubrey Plaza movie? I think it's called Black Bear. They filmed it during the pandemic, and it's like 2 movies in one, which is kind of what you're talking about. Not exactly, but it's about like making a movie. You should check it out.
Okay. Anyway, Aubrey Plaza's Black Bear?
I think it's called Black Bear.
You're not talking about Elizabeth Banks' Cocaine Bear, are you?
No, that's a different thing. I still haven't seen that either. Anyway, let's list all the movies we have or haven't seen.
Okay. Well, here's one we could talk about. I'm pretty sure we've had a moment to talk about this since it happened. But when we shot that Hallows Dawn sketch, it was like one of the first video collaborations. And then at the end of it, for some reason, you were compelled to give me a copy of David Lynch's Eraserhead. And at the time, I had never seen David Lynch. And I told you that I ended up watching it like later that week.
Yeah.
But I watched it in the middle of the day, like in the morning, and I like got really high in the morning. Watched it in my apartment with my friend Andrew. I don't think he made it through the whole thing, but I ended up watching the rest of it by myself. And I didn't think much of it then. Like I was like, oh, it was a weird, unique experience. I really didn't know what to make of it. I was like, I've never seen anything like that. It was very strange and uncomfortable.
Weird. Yeah.
And it wasn't until like a year or so later when I had a creative writing professor, Mark Gaskill, recommend to me Mulholland Drive. And when I watched that, maybe like a quarter of the way into the movie for something went off in my head that was like, this director is a genius. And then I wanted to watch all his shit, and I did. And now I'm like obsessed with David Lynch. But I wanted to give you props for...
Oh, yeah. No problem. I was at a time where I was just buying a bunch of like used DVDs in college because I was in film school. I don't remember what the place was called, but it was like near the Walmart. There was like, they had so many used DVDs, and I got that on Criterion Collection.
Yeah.
I was just like, something about the dialogue or something about, I don't know, you as a person. I was like, I think he'll like this.
Yeah, that was my question to you, was like there were a moment in making Hallows Dawn that made you go like, this is going to be the movie I recommend to him, or like what made that connection happen? I don't know.
Maybe it's like the dialogue or something, like stilted dialogue, and I don't even know if they talk in Eraserhead, do they? They guess
they do.
It's been so long since I've seen it.
I think there's maybe something about the absurdity, like especially that early scene where he goes to have dinner with the family and they have like the little chickens.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then just random shit like the father standing up and like spreading his legs open, like, look at my knees, look at my knees.
I need to rewatch this movie.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched it.
There's a weird baby.
Yes. Mm-hmm. There was something strange. Like there's an absurd kind of humor to it that I think maybe.
And it's folksy a little bit too. It's like, I don't know. David Lynch he is great.
Yeah.
That he's just like, he could just be like a small town guy, but he's like, I had a dream that I was in a red room with a small person.
Right.
He's like, let's do it.
Do you have a favorite David Lynch movie?
I would say, I don't know. Twin Peaks it's not a movie, but I like Twin Peaks a lot.
Did you see that third season?
Yeah, that was wild.
Very wild.
Where the guy plays like two people. He's like evil Dale Cooper.
Yes.
That was wild.
Yeah, Mr. C, Dougie, then Coma Cooper. I feel like there's like another version he plays too.
That guy, what's his name, the actor? Oh, I can't
Kyle
remember.
MacLachlan?
Yeah, he's opening a wine store in Eastern Washington.
Yeah.
And you can go visit him, like, and try the wines.
Oh, he's there?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's like, I don't know, 4 hours away from me, but I would be tempted.
I would be tempted too. I'll come all the way there. So you do like stand-up in Seattle, at least?
Yeah.
What has that been like?
I feel I don't want to complain too much about Seattle. I do like my life there. It's nice. It's just like there's small interactions from your day to day that pile up, but comedy is great there. Yeah, there's a comedy club like 2 blocks from my house called Club Comedy. That place is fun. And then there's the Crocodile, which is like an old school music venue, but they just moved to like a 3-story. It reminds me of the Soapbox a little bit, where there'll be like a headliner up top and then smaller bands in the middle, and then there's like a old movie theater they do comedy in. And I really like it there. I'm actually featuring for Janeane Garofalo next week.
Oh,
there.
wow.
That'll be fun. I did it once before. She comes through every once in a while.
She's one of the good ones.
Yeah, she's very chaotic. She brings out like, she just had like papers in a bag. She's like, I just took my desk apart and and she just reads stuff.
That would be entertaining.
Yeah. Legendary lady.
Yeah.
She's been out. Last time I was like, I don't know how to say this, but I hope you take this the right way, but I really liked Mystery Men growing up. That was one of my favorite movies. She's like, why would I take that the wrong way? I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't know if it was like a movie she was proud of being in, because I loved it so much. I feel like now people are like, that's the Smash Mouth movie, because the music video was, anyway, tie-in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I loved Mystery Men. It's got Pee Wee Herman. What's his name? Paul. Anyway, this is the worst. Remembering names. I just keep naming names.
Well, I feel bad because I don't know what this movie is, but I also know like we're both film students. I'm so not a film buff.
Yeah.
Like,
I've been in a slow period of watching movies, but yeah, Mystery Men was like a Marvel style Avengers collab, but they're all like misfits.
Okay.
And so it's like a superhero comedy. It's really good.
Okay. I understand that.
It's like a star-studded cast of like really funny people, and anyway, check it out. Mystery Men.
Mystery Men. Okay.
I haven't seen it in a long time. It might get me canceled. I don't know if there's any sort of bad humor in there. It's been
Imagine
a long time.
recommending a bad movie on a podcast.
Yeah,
will get you canceled.
Yeah.
Podcast barely anyone watches. Well, let's talk a little bit more about comedy. And what year did you start?
The first set I did was in 2009. It was at Last Seahawk Standing, which is UNC Wilmington's comedy competition. I ended up winning it. I spent like a year writing jokes. I was so nervous. I remember like shaking and feeling lightheaded when I was on stage and stuff. But I just wrote a bunch of jokes. And then it took me a little while to figure out Nut Street was a thing and the open mic there. So I probably started for real around like late 2010 or something.
Okay. Oh, man. I'm drawing a blank. Dude, I'm so bad at carrying conversations.
Oh, no, it's fine.
That's why it's so funny that I chose to be a podcast
It's
host.
good practice. There you go.
I know, but this is like episode 18. Like, I should be a lot better at it. Now, I almost feel like I'm getting worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not great at conversations either, so this might be... It's when... Yeah. I'm good at being in conversation with people that are good at being in conversation, but same. I can never, like...
There needs to be one person
I can never carry it. I can never be the guy. I used to do therapy with this guy. I ended up looking him up later just for detail, but he was a folk singer by, like, his passion was folk singing, this therapist, and he had a song on SoundCloud, or no, band, whatever, the band one. Anyway.
Bandcamp?
Yeah, Bandcamp. That was called Stop Your Whining. That was like his first song. And I was like, this explains so much. Because I would go in there and just sit. And he was the type of person that wanted me to start the conversation, like that type of therapy. He's like, I want the patient to get... He never told me any of this. And I just sat there for like, I don't know. We met for like weeks and weeks and probably total for hours, just me sitting there saying nothing, just waiting. And he'd be like, he'd like take a deep breath.
Wow, really?
And I just couldn't
you didn't
start the conversation.
You didn't sit in silence the whole time, did you?
Not the whole time, but for a good 10 minutes every time, I would say. I'd be like, I don't know what you want me to do.
Wonder what that is, like, that quality that we share, that like we both profess to not be good at conversations. Because, like, when you look into what makes someone good at conversation, is usually is like they have a really curious mind, like they ask good questions, and it gets someone like us who's not normally good at carrying conversations. They ask us questions that we're excited to answer, and then it gets us yapping.
Yeah.
And then they keep hitting you with more questions. And I think that there's something to having that genuinely curious mind about people. And I don't know if this is what you feel, but I feel like I don't have that. Like,
I feel like I think it's a brain chemistry thing almost.
Really?
Like if I drink a ton of caffeine, then I'll be good at a conversation. Like if I'm like shaking from caffeine. It's like some part of my brain is shut down naturally.
Yeah, it could be some sort of like low dopamine thing. Like when you're not neurochemically high, you just don't care.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I do care, but it's like I don't have some sort of emotional energy to move my mouth. Now I'm like really thinking about it. It's getting weird in my head. But
well, this kind of conversation is interesting to me. I like, when there's a problem, like getting deep into it.
Yeah. Where it's almost like your brain, I don't know, panic attack mode. Anyway.
Do you feel like your brain's in panic attack mode?
A little bit. If we think about this a lot, like because then I'll start thinking about like what are the brain chemicals doing right now as we're talking, and what am I saying? See, it's freaking me out a little. It's trippy.
Okay. Well, I can't promise you that the rest of the conversation will avoid this territory, but
no, it's fine.
Okay, so I did think of something that we're on kind of the subject of like neurochemical pleasure and that kind of thing. You were telling me you just had a doctor's appointment before this.
Yes.
You got some blood work done. Things are looking better for you.
Yeah. They're all max. All the numbers maxed out. Good cholesterol, bad cholesterol.
Okay.
It's all full max.
Where you want it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's fully max. No, it's just good. I had some really high. There's something they can measure in your blood to see inflammation level overall in your whole body. And that was like 10 last time. It was like red. It was like greater than 10. Like it went past the scale. And I think it's because I was drinking a lot. This was like during a time when I was doing this very stressful comedy competition I just got done with, and I had been drinking a ton during it and not sleeping a lot. It was bad. And the doctor was like worried a little bit. And I stopped drinking from like January 9th to around now. Like I haven't drank in Seattle.
Very recent.
Yeah. For like, 2 or 3 months, I haven't been drinking as much, at least.
Have you always been kind of like a big drinker?
Yeah, but I think it turned, I don't know. At college, going to college here, it's like easy to drink a lot in Wilmington.
It is a drinking town.
And then I went into film as a production assistant, which is like a ton of people drinking all the time because you work like 14-hour days, and then the weekend comes and you're just like, we gotta get all our drinking in for the entire week in these 2 days.
Yeah.
And like it was in Charleston where we'd go to brunch, and it's like you go to brunch at like 11 a.m. on a Sunday and then just drink until 5, and then you pass out and you're ready for work the next day.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot. And then Seattle, I don't know, it's not a drinking town, so it became more noticeable that I drank a lot compared to other people. And then I entered like this therapy thing, which was pretty intense, like group therapy where we were all not drinking, and it helped a lot. Like, on my own it was tough, but I feel a lot better now.
So is this group therapy like AA?
No, it was like this place called Nua Health. They run all sorts of this stuff. It's sort of like AA, but it's like medical. I don't know. We would go through like brain lessons and stuff and talk about it. It was more lead than AA.
Did it bum you out when you got... Oh, sorry. Before I ask you that, was there something that led you to go to the doctor to get checked on?
Yeah, I mean, part of it was drinking a lot. She had wanted me to take all these vitamins and wanted to recheck on it.
I meant like, did you get sick or something?
No,
Did you go to the doctor and they were like...
No, I just felt pretty crappy in general.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what brought me... It had been like years before since I had like a checkup, and I had good insurance, so I was like, I might as well go. And then she led me down to that and was like, you should probably stop drinking. And then my friend Emmett, we were in this comedy competition, which it was an intense experience, the Seattle International Comedy Competition, but I ended up getting 3rd place, which was awesome. Like there's been some real famous people that finished highly in that, so the whole thing was a great experience. But my stress, the way I was managing stress, was to drink. And then Emmett was like, seems like you're drinking a lot there, buddy. He like had a lunch with me. I was like, yeah, you're probably right.
Okay. So your doctor wanted you to take some vitamins.
Yeah. And then I was just saying, like, I think some of these levels are low because I'm not digesting food as well as I should with, drinking every night.
Okay. Did you, when your doctor told you needed to cut back on alcohol and you started doing that, did it really bum you out?
No. I needed like space to start. Like it's hard for me. It's like a momentum thing. I guess at first, I think my brain was in a bad place chemically and just stuff. So I already felt bad.
Okay.
And so I started feeling better the longer I went without drinking. My brain was like healing.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel now about it? Do you feel like you kind of prefer life without it, or?
Yeah, for sure. Especially before stand-up shows and stuff. Because you can get like sloppy and then you don't remember what jokes you were doing. Like, not that it's that bad, but just like foggy brain.
Yeah. Did you have like an adjustment period of like it being uncomfortable being on stage without alcohol?
Yeah, that was like the main thing. Was the main difficult thing because I was going up so much. And so I just had to find a couple of shows that I was like, this is low pressure, like going to my local mic, which is like 3 minutes, and I know everyone there, and you know exactly when you're on the list, so you can just get in and get out.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my experience. Not so much, like I've never been much of a drinker, but definitely on and off with being a cannabis smoker. And like my first year doing it, I didn't really smoke, but then I started doing it. And when I started, it was like a learning curve to figure out how to be on stage and be high at the same time. But I figured it out quickly, and then it was great. And then after like years of that, then I tried to take it away. And then it was suddenly very uncomfortable. Like I felt like I was not funny if I was not high. And so I kept going back to it out of like, I can't do bad.
Yeah.
Especially when I do like the weekend shows at Dead Crow, you have 4 of them. I would do the early one sober, and I'd be tight and not funny. And then I'd be like, fuck, it was so boring. And then I'd get high for the 9:30 one, and then I'd be like real loose and fun. And I would go, well, I'd try again tomorrow, sober on the first one. Like, damn it.
Yeah.
Smoke again.
It's like a psychological thing where you're just like, you got to learn that you could be the same person that's like loose and stuff.
Yeah. Well, then going on and off, I found it's just whatever you get used to doing, that's what feels most comfortable. But if you just push through the discomfort, you get used to doing it sober or doing it on whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah. And it's like, same with conversation. I mean, I think it's the same part of our brains probably.
Yeah.
Like, that are bad at conversations, that feel like we need a crutch or something.
Maybe I should get you a beer.
Yeah. I mean, like before, I mean, I didn't even consider it today, but like back in the day, if I ever did a podcast or something, I would definitely drink before.
Did you drink before the one that you sent me the link to, the smoked meats one?
No.
I listened to a little bit of that.
Oh, thanks.
I really enjoy your affinity for barbecue. And I feel like I also kind of had a similar experience, like not really appreciating good barbecue until I left.
Yeah. Or just North Carolina in general, not appreciating it because I'd lived here my whole life.
Right.
And now I'm like...
And then you try West Coast barbecue once and you're like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Or like, I don't know, you go out there and you see like a... I don't know. I saw like a pop country band, and the people that were in the crowd, I'm like, they don't know real country. It's like, right. I never wanted to like country, but now I'm like... This is my heritage. No, I don't know. Yeah. It's like weird.
Dude, I kind of feel like my mom's always loved country music, and I've always really not liked it. Like it's always annoyed the shit out of me.
Yeah.
But then at some point in the past several years, it's probably around time, went to LA, came back. Like now, I still don't listen to country music a lot, but there are country songs I like.
Yeah. I don't
hate it like I do.
There's certain artists that I like Drive By Truckers, and they're
Rascal
more like...
Flatts.
Justin Townes Earl and this guy Barna Howard, who's from Oregon. But like, once you find artists you like, I don't know. It's like they're more like old school style country stuff. But anyway,
yeah, that old school underground country.
Yeah, before
East Coast
it was
country.
Yeah, East Coast, South, dirty South country.
That boom bap country.
But that is funny. You were asking me if I drank before that podcast because. Maybe I was feeling loose, but I was definitely sober.
Well, I feel like they had a double host too, so they could.
Yeah.
They seemed like they were talkative guys.
Yeah, they're really good. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to pop in there at leisure.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we could go to some more elusive sort of territory here in conversation. I saw you checked all the boxes except one.
Wait, what did now I'm trying to remember.
We don't want to talk about political ideology.
Oh, yeah.
Most people don't check that box. And it makes sense because most people
I didn't know what you were going to come out with it. So.
Yeah, like, what are you thinking about the Capitol riots?
Yeah. But no, I mean,
What do you think about the Capitol riots?
I'm not a fan.
Oh. This is a Capitol riot podcast.
Oh, God. I got to go.
That's what creativity theory is.
The theory is, this is the Capitol. This is us. This is also the Capitol. This is Trump. I don't know. I just didn't want to get into that. I don't know. It's kind of boring to me, but...
No, I agree. I don't really care about it either.
I mean, I do care, but it's like, if I just say anything... I know you're not going to, like... be like fight me on it, but it's just like circular conversation. I feel like. So, here we go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm like simultaneously like intentionally moderate and intentionally apolitical. Like I understand it. I feel like I understand both sides. I don't really like picking a side. I think if you were to sit me down and walk me through different issues and ask me what I think, you might be able to get a left-leaning answer or a right-leaning answer depending on what the issue was. But otherwise, like, I don't have an affinity towards like a party or.
I mean, I'm definitely like heavily left-leaning, but I just talking about it is exhausting.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was not trying to slip into
No, it's okay. It's funny.
More getting ready to talk about anything but that.
Oh yeah, but I was just thinking about. I have a joke. John Carlo kind of pointed this out to me because he went and saw me do comedy, and the joke is political because it talks about political things, and I clearly like delineate.
That reel you posted the other day,
that's
that was
the
great.
one. Yeah, and it's like. That one, I feel like it can work in conservative places, even though I'm saying like the KKK is your people. It's like, this is your people, this is your people.
Yes.
But the fact that because they're, in their mind, they're like, LGBTQ, that's the bad guy. And it's like, they can still laugh.
Right.
But it's like
LGBTQ
and NPR. But I love NPR. I love,
Yeah.
I don't say it, though. I'm not like, I'm an NPR fan.
Well, I think that's a really important thing about being able to have a side but not make that the point of your comedy, like, because I find that to be repulsive when I see it, no matter what the side is. Like a comedian going up there, I always think like being funny should be your number one priority, but some people have it where like, no, being funny is second to me.
Preaching is number one. I really want to be a preacher.
Yes. Yeah. I want to get an applause because this crowd agrees with me, like ideologically. That makes me cringe when I see that.
There are some Seattle comics that are very left-leaning. There's this guy, Andrew Frank, and he'll go...
I think I know him. I feel like he's come down here for a festival.
Probably. He tells me about like times he's come out and like he does like a lot of like anti-religious stuff because he was raised religious. I don't even know if he would call it anti-religious, but he talks about religion and how it's silly in some ways. And he said he would go to like conservative places and still do the same jokes. Like he's not afraid of it, and I dig that. And he said one time this lady came up to him afterwards. She's like, Satan is inside of you, and like had this very serious talk. And it's like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that? I don't want to tell the type of jokes where people are coming up to me afterwards and like, I think you might be possessed by the devil.
I find that I've come to find religion so interesting because I think back when you were around here, like, the stuff that I was doing, I was coming from a place of like pure like atheist nihilist sort of stance. Like everything was just doomed and fucked and horrible, and I was part of it and enjoying the chaos and creating chaos is what I really thrived in. But I'm not like that anymore, I don't feel. And where was I going with this? The religious element. What do you feel like? What do you think about the nature of reality? Like, are you a religious or spiritual person, or?
Well, I was raised Christian, but I don't really practice Christianity. But I don't know. I feel open-minded about things. I don't know the nature of reality.
Right.
Or I don't think about it too much because it scares me.
That makes sense.
I mean, as a kid, I was like the most existential, dreading person.
Yeah.
I was afraid of death, and if I think about it too hard, I'll probably be afraid of death again. And like, what am I doing with this limited time on Earth?
Yeah. Part of me feels like that, like getting so deep into these, like that almost feels somewhat like a political conversation, but not as adversarial. It just kind of feels like, you're talking with someone about this unexplainable thing. It's like literally you're talking about that which is designed to transcend words. And when you try to use words anyway to try to explain it, it feels really frustrating.
Yeah, and my brain like wants to shy away from it.
Yeah. Well, you checked the box that you would want to.
No, it's good. I don't know what I think about things sometimes because I don't interrogate myself that much, I guess.
So it's more just avoid the overly complicated.
Yeah.
I think that's honestly, I feel like that would benefit me if I was like that. I kind of feel like that's a lot of the purpose of like really simple-minded fundamentalist interpretations of religion.
It's to avoid like messiness.
Right. It's almost seems better to have like a blind faith to even like a cartoonishly fake religion than it is to get all philosophical and try to break apart the metaphysics of reality. Yeah. And
there's something, I don't know, we were talking about in therapy, which is like holding two ideas at once. I forget what you call it. But I think I'm just like supernaturally good at that stuff. Is like I don't have to know the answer. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that has a lot to do with like what I was saying. My stance is politically is like I can hold both political stances at the same time and see like they both have a point. They're both kind of right. They're both wrong and they're right.
Yeah,
and they can both exist at the same time, and the existence of them both are necessary. I think that's just the nature of the duality or the seeming duality of reality.
I guess for political things, I have my values that are like, I don't know. One side definitely crosses those values that I would not stand with them. So.
Right. Well, I find that interesting that like the view from the, I guess more spiritual side of things, like you have that view about, the coexistence of opposites.
But I feel like, spiritually, I don't know. I feel like you're not hurting people with your opinion about existence.
Maybe, but also I feel like there are certain fundamental like I think that the religious and spiritual is like a prerequisite to the political. And in fact, I actually kind of developed this
circle right here.
Yeah.
This is the capital.
Yep, that's the capital.
Here's the afterlife.
Well, I almost feel like because obviously it's way more complicated than liberals are one way and conservatives are another. When you dig down into individuals, it gets very nuanced, and there's some very stupid conservatives, and very stupid liberals, and very intelligent conservatives, and very intelligent liberals, and anything in between, all that. But if we were to simplify and stereotype, it kind of is the conservatives are at least when we're talking about America, the conservatives are the more religious types, right? And they're probably a little more conscientious, organized, orderly, where the left, they're kind of the more a-religious type. They might be spiritual, more like abstractly pulling from different religions like Buddhism. A lot of liberals like Buddhist and meditative principles and that kind of thing. They're a little less organized, but more creative and more thinking forward about progressing things forward. And the whole balance between the two is liberals move us forward and give us new and better ideas, but the conservatives slow that process down so that it's manageable and that we don't jump too far to things that maybe aren't great ideas, and maybe slow us down where they do have some good ideas. It's just not, the conservatives are being stubborn. So in that, with the whole more religious side and the less religious side, I do feel like there's this split of, like I was saying, the religious beliefs being a prerequisite to how you behave politically is, I think a lot of the political beliefs have to do with some sort of like stringent, organized religion things that get people to think a certain way and behave a certain way. And even like when they're lost or doing things wrong, they look to a book that is religious in nature and designed because science is really about what things are, but religion's more about how to be. And I think that there's a loss in abandoning religion, where the way human mind and psychology works is, even if you do not believe in God, you do have a God concept, and it's your highest value. So if you are someone that is intentionally atheistic, but you're very politically engaged, your political ideology is going to be your God. And you might not know that or admit to it, but if that does so happen to be the thing that you hold the highest, like, that's how I operate. That's how I treat people. It's based on what I think politically. And so I think that there is something that we do see, particularly through the Trump era, where there is like a zero tolerance on the left towards the right, like being like, fuck my neighbor. He believes in some like radical bullshit, storm the Capitol ideology. I'm unfriending him on Facebook. I don't want to see that shit. Where the right, it's like, yeah, you might be a dumb liberal, but you are my neighbor. So, and I do have this book that tells me I should love that neighbor. So I'm going to keep you as my friend on Facebook, you know? So that to me, but I understand what you're saying too about like choosing the side that seems to be more empathetic politically. And again, like,
but there are people, like you're saying, that are not empathetic within that side. It's just,
of course. Yeah. When you get down to the individuals, it gets really nuanced, but sorry for talking about the thing, the one box you I just wanted to say all that out loud.
Yeah. A college essay you've been writing.
Yeah. I wish I articulated all that better. It was really messy.
No, it's good.
I have been off caffeine for 2 months, and I'm like waiting for my brain to start working again. Do you like caffeine?
I like caffeine, yeah.
I think most people do.
Yeah. I don't drink a ton of it, especially not near the nighttime. I can't sleep well already, so.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have a life philosophy?
A life philosophy?
Yeah.
I don't think so, but man, I don't know.
If you had to describe
I guess
your
my
approach
life
to life.
philosophy is just like picking a thing and like working hard toward it.
Okay.
And then just to have something to focus on, that because that's when I do feel the happiest, is when I'm like, I'm working on my comedy or working on a script or working at my job toward something, and I'm getting better as a person about it. Like, I guess that's my philosophy, is just getting better as a human being.
Yeah. I like that.
Because that's all the only thing you can control is like yourself, I guess.
Yeah. Is stand-up the thing that you feel like you're most like focused on, that you're...
I think writing more broadly. Like, I like doing stand-up, and it's a quick way to be like, is this joke funny or not? And then hone it in. And I've gotten a lot of opportunities in stand-up, and they keep coming, so I'm going to focus on that. But it's like, when I have downtime, I'll write a script, or I got a new pen for an iPad, so I like drawing, but I'm not really good at it, but it's just something to do. Yeah. And yeah, I would say writing in general.
Do you have kind of a dream position to be in the future?
I mean, yeah, writing on a show or something is what I've always wanted to do. Yeah. Because then you don't have to go and perform. You can just write jokes in a room and then have other people perform them. Yeah.
If there was a show, is there a show that exists now that if they offered you the job, it would be like your favorite show to write for?
I was thinking about this, it's not exactly a comedy, but I love the way they write, and it sort of is structured like a comedy, as White Lotus.
Okay. I've been recommended that so many times and I still haven't watched it.
It's like written in a way that instead of punchlines, it's like set up and then what's the most awkward thing that can happen. And it's like almost like a chain of events of the most, they're not going for laughs, they're going for like cringing. And it's really funny too. there's like funny moments, but it's also really human and just like, how can this group of people that are in this resort, what's the most awkward way this could all end?
It kind of makes me, the way you're describing it kind of makes me feel like Curb Your Enthusiasm a little bit.
Yeah.
You feel like it's like a less comedy version.
Yeah, and I feel like Curb Your Enthusiasm is really improvised.
Okay.
They have like the beats and then they improvise, but this is all super written and good dialogue. And it's like, yeah, I don't know, just like a train wreck that they stage at the beginning of the season. And by the end, it just falls apart.
Okay.
And they get to go shoot in like the new season. They just announced it's going to be in Thailand. I feel like it's
The Hangover 2.
Yeah. It's this guy, Mike White, who writes it. He also wrote this series called Enlightened. But he's been to Wilmington, I think. He worked on like either One Tree Hill or Dawson's Creek, one of those. That was where he was like starting as a writer. And so I'm a fan of him. And yeah, he's figured out a way to get to go on vacation and shoot a thing. Like bring all his actor friends, and yeah, now he's going to Thailand. Which each season, he said the first season, I forget what the first season was about. The second one was about sexuality, and the third season is going to be about like religion and philosophy.
Okay.
I think maybe the first season was about class.
I want to avoid that season.
Yeah. No, I think it'd be fun to like write characters that are struggling with this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll do really stupid things. Like that's the fun part, is like, I don't know, they write in a way where it's like you can see the character's logic, but it just ends so badly.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there'll be like, my guess is there'll be some like millennial couple that's there to be like, we're on a Zen Buddhist retreat. And like, it'll be like, they'll have these strong values like you're talking about. I don't know. They'll have these life guiding values, but then it'll be like some way that they fail at them, or the values, they follow them too strongly and then end up, you know, making a mess, like be racist or something. I feel like they're gonna, if I was writing it, it'd be like, there's a millennial couple and the resort is run by like Thai people, and they somehow like treat a Thai person very horribly in their quest for like religious enlightenment.
Okay.
But the Thai person, see, this is a complex show, so that the Thai resort person's also scamming them in some way.
Okay.
And like, they're in love with someone. I don't know. It's like, it seems so fun to write because it's like a little box. Like, this is the people that work at the resort. This is the people that are local and come through the resort. And then these are these tourists. And it's like, how can we set it up like a Rube Goldberg machine or something where it all goes horrible?
Yeah. I can imagine that's fun to write for. You've now convinced me. I think there's been too many people I trust their opinion to tell me they like the show or that I should watch it. So I think it's coming.
Yeah. I've heard the people that don't like it are the ones that are like, it's way too uncomfortable. But I don't think anything can be too uncomfortable for you. I think you'll be fine.
Why would you say that? Speaking of which, how's this experience been?
It's been good.
On this podcast?
I feel like I've said things I'll regret later.
I feel bad because I feel like I've made you uncomfortable. No, and that was not my intention.
The thing I'm most worried about is that non-disparagement clause. No, it'll be fine.
All right. Do you want to talk about physical and mental health?
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm so bad at this.
No, that's okay. Physical and mental health are important. I'll just give you a ChatGPT answer.
Yeah, give me a ChatGPT.
This is what ChatGPT would say. If you said, tell me about physical and mental health, it'd be like, physical and mental health are two key components of a healthy and physically fit lifestyle. The first of which is physical health. Physical health is often taught in schools in America as physical education. It involves running and jumping and playing sports. As you grow older, physical health becomes your own responsibility. You must jog or exercise and eat well. Many adults in the United States struggle with physical health, and that is why the FDA recommends the food pyramid. Mental health is much like physical health, but of the mind. Equally important is the managing of complex social roles and emotional balance. Meditation is also often recommended as a natural way to improve mental health. Therapy is commonly prescribed by I don't know. See, it's tough.
That was good. I was believing it.
It's just like, that's the kind of things it does. It's just ramble.
Right.
Wikipedia article regurgitation.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like giving you... It's almost like this. It's almost like what you would find from a Google search, from probably bulk of the information getting from Wikipedia, and then maybe you're pulling from some other like semi or fully trusted sources.
Yeah.
And... or commonly trusted sources, I should say, not fully trusted, but... and giving your own summary in the most like vanilla words possible. Yeah. That's what it does. It's just
so
like
far
a little bit better than a Google search.
But I do wonder, like, all this input it's getting from us now, like the next ChatGPT.
Yeah.
That's why it's free, so they can get more information, I think.
Right. Yeah, they want as many people using it as possible. That would make sense. God damn it, I had something and I lost it again. Dude, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. This is like my worst hosting job ever.
Just high pressure. That's what that therapist said. He's like, talking to you just feels like a lot of pressure. I'm like,
that's interesting.
I'm not judging you. I just don't know what to say.
Your therapist said that to you?
Yeah, eventually. Yeah, that one that I would just sit there for a long time. He's like, it just seems very intense talking to you. And I feel like I might say the wrong thing. I'm like, this is how you make me feel. I don't know what I'm like. Anyway.
That's interesting. Because I kind of feel a pressure.
There's no pressure. It's fine.
And I like know that. I'm like, no, Timmy's like really chill. But for some reason, I'm like, I don't want to disappoint him or like give him a bad conversation or ask him a boring or annoying question. But like almost every time I like spit something, I'm like, oh, fuck, that was not it.
No, I haven't thought it was fine.
Thanks.
I don't have any judgment of the quality of this conversation, except what we're talking about now.
Except, yeah, when we get all meta and talk about the quality of the conversation.
You need like a thermometer where I can adjust a dial, like how I think the conversation's going.
That's where technology's going, is where we're going to have these interfaces that can tell, like, that can measure how interested you are.
Yeah. It's like how they rate TV shows and stuff, where you're just like, I like this part. I don't like this.
Have you seen that Nathan For You, where he measures the guy's like dopamine levels through his collecting his pee to determine I am fun to hang out with? Yeah, that's what I'm gonna start doing. I'm gonna start taking my guests' pee
before and after. Make them drink a lot of water during.
Yeah, I'll get a bigger mason jar.
But then if they hate drinking water, that'll bias the test.
Yeah. I'll have to give them some other sort of liquid, I guess. Well, how do you feel about mental health? Physical health, I feel like what are we even gonna say? You should do things for physical health.
Yeah, I jog for that, and which I think that helps your mental health too. Yeah, I feel like my mental health's all over the place. Sometimes I'm in a good place. Sometimes I'm feeling chaotic. But not drinking has helped me feel better overall mentally. Beat myself up less and stuff.
How would you describe a chaotic state of mind?
It's where I feel a little anxiety about how much stuff I have to do. And I'm like, I don't get enough done. And then I'm like, I'll just sit here instead. And it's like, I don't know, my brain goes crazy sometimes. It's just like, can't focus on one thing, feeling bad that I'm not working on something, or I don't know. It's like I have all these things to do. I got to book a flight home. That was a recent thing because we were just flying. We bought one-way tickets, and I was like, I don't know. The prices just keep going up, and I can't pull the trigger. I got to like confirm with my parents and my wife, everything. And so that just was like 4 days in my mind. And I finally figured out that I can use my frequent flyer miles, and it's not a problem at all, and it's fine. But it was just like burning at me, and I couldn't make a decision.
So anxiety over decisions.
Yeah, or like having to do something.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're a procrastinating type?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I don't know. I don't know. It's just like feeling bad about myself or my place in life. That's when mental health goes bad. But then when you're like, no, I did everything I wanted to do today. I'm reading a book now. I'm sitting on the couch. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like it helps you having someone? Like, you're married.
Yeah.
And you've been with Lauren for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, you were dating back in 2014 when we made that fucking How It's Gone thing.
We started dating in like 2011.
Okay, yeah. So over 10 years.
Yeah.
You probably don't even know what life is like without someone.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never actually lived alone, I think. Like, just in an apartment, just me.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know what it's like. But I will say when she's gone, it's like easier for me to accomplish tasks because I think there's part of me that like wants to make sure she's entertained or happy in my brain.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we could do this or this. So when she's gone, I'm just like, let's put on an audiobook, do some dishes, submit some booking emails.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It is, yeah, that's part of it. I don't know. Some people work better when other people are around. I don't think so. I don't think I do.
Yeah, I don't think I do. At least, yeah, not as focused or, if I have someone over, I want to make sure they're occupied or entertained before I can go into focus mode. Like I was talking about the way I used to make videos in like high school and stuff. It was perfect because, I was the one shooting and editing them. And then my friends were just like actors. And sometimes they would get behind the camera and help with that, but I was always the editor. And so whenever we'd finish, they would go on my PlayStation and play games while I sat on the computer. And like to know that they're good, they're occupied by that. I don't have to worry about them. I can put on my headphones and just go to town until the thing's done.
And then you show them and they're like, yeah, awesome.
Yeah. And also, like, them being there, wanting to see the finished thing was, like, this extra pressure to, like, keep me from getting up and fucking around. Yeah. I definitely feel you on the anxiety of having too much to do kind of thing. Like, this podcast alone, because I, like, edit 3 camera angles, and then they can go on a long time.
Yeah.
And I try to do, like, 1 a week. I'm starting to get this like existential angst over like,
it's a lot.
Is this really the best way to spend all these hours? Like, I don't know if this is really my thing. Or I don't know that this is like the best use of my time. But
wonder if you could hire someone to edit it.
Well, that would be the thing. If I had money, I would do that. I would, like, as soon as I have that kind of disposable income, I would love for the only thing I have to do would be sit down and record. And then all the, editing and distribution, that's someone else. Because this kind of editing, it's easy, but it's not like, there's no artistic satisfaction from it. And I like editing, but when it's, it's like a film or like a creative sort of thing.
When it's just like, a workman-like, just do it.
Yes. Yeah. When it's like the editing version of data entry.
Like
I'm just, this makes sense. This is how you do it.
There's like a right answer or whatever.
Right. I can maybe get a little creative with like where the cuts are, but I can't.
That was like, editing. That was a clip. That clip I posted. I just had to sit down and like drink a bunch of coffee and do it because I started off real strong. I was like, this is fine. But then I kept seeing how long the clip was that I had to put subtitles on.
Yeah.
And by the end, I was like, I just have to finish it all at once. And I was feeling, there's just this feeling I get, like, I don't know, happens to me. I was thinking about this and like possible ADHD symptoms, but like going shopping with my mom as a kid, I would get that same feeling of just like, internal turmoil. Just like, this is never ending.
Yeah.
And I was feeling the same thing editing that clip, and I'm just like, oh, I got to do more words. But I did have fun with it, where you, like, I think in the future I'll probably do more of that, is like having fun with the typography and which words are like white or yellow or bold or on this side of the screen or this side of the screen to just add production value or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I will say that I have found that loading, it seems counterintuitive, but like loading a bunch more shit. Like, okay, so while I'm saying I get anxious about the workload of this podcast, I will say that it's made my workload outside of the podcast seem like nothing. And that I constantly on a, like, I always even if I have free time, it's like, oh great, 3 days no work. Well, I always have more podcasts to record or to edit or to, like, you know, create the metadata and thumbnails for and organize and all that shit. Cut reels, you know, I can always cut more reels, subtitle more reels. So there's just an infinite ongoing amount of work for this to do, and to constantly take that self-enforced engagement with and like just keep that machine running constantly. It's made, oh, I have like an actual like photo shoot and there's a lot of photos to edit. Before doing the podcast, that actually kind of was daunting. And I was like, oh geez, mountain stuff. Now it's like, you know, I just, the past 2 days I did this event at the Wilmington Convention Center for the Carolina Recycling Agency, and I took like 80 something people's headshots, and so I have all those to edit and distribute. I'm not worried about it. Like, just between waking up and getting ready this morning and then getting ready for this podcast, I think I edited like 25 of the people. So
yeah, I feel that is where, like, if the more where you're like on a time crunch and it's like there's no room for error, and it's just like more things are coming, so it's just like, I'll do this, because then your brain is just in a, I don't know if it's healthy, but it like keeps momentum.
Yeah, I think your attitude matters about whether it's healthy, because I think if you're like scared of it and you're like, oh shit, oh fuck,
yeah, that's not good. But when you're like, I have to do this,
yeah, or even just knowing, like, understanding that yes, I'm stressed out because, like you said, there's a no error sort of pressure to it, or like I can't have like a computer malfunction right now because then I'll miss this deadline because I have no other chance to do this.
But you also can't procrastinate, and it's like,
yes,
there's no decision to be made. It's like, I have to do it.
Yeah, man, and that's another thing too. I think that has led to just most people being anxious, is this infinite amount of decisions to be made about everything, an infinite amount of options. And I think that this goes to, you know, one, choosing entertainment, what to do with your day, who to talk to, who to pursue romantically, blah, 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 all the things. And I think there's just like, you know, a pernicious or like kind of you wouldn't think it's there sort of anxiety that comes with freedom.
And it's almost probably another brain chemistry thing where like your brain has only so much chemical of decision making. I feel that sometimes after a long day that was stressful, that required a lot of like, that wasn't smooth like that, where you're just like, next thing. And then my wife's like, what do you want to watch on TV? I'm like, literally just anything, just put what you want. Like, I don't want to be in charge of this. I don't want to decide what we're watching. Because sometimes that's fun, is to be like, oh, you got to check out this show or this show. I'm just like, I don't care. I can't do it right now.
Yeah, dude, making decisions.
Yeah.
My advice to the young men out there is to load up.
Load her up.
Stress yourself out.
Don't stop.
Do you have any advice to the young men out there?
I would say, marry my wife. She's great.
What about young women? Do you have any advice for young women?
Marry my wife. It's legal. No, don't. She's taken, but I don't know. I don't have any advice.
Well, do you have anything else that you want to discuss or powwow about before we wrap it up?
I think
put a cap
we've
on
pretty
it?
much covered everything in the universe.
Yeah, I think we did. I think we covered everything. Well, I'm really sorry for disappointing.
This has been horrible.
Yeah, that's on me.
This has ruined my entire North Carolina trip.
I'm sorry, dude. I know you're here for a limited amount of time, and this was maybe
This
not
is
the
really,
best decision.
not the best use. I gotta learn from your mistakes, I guess. That's what they say.
There you go.
That's my advice. Learn from your mistakes.
Learn from your mistakes. Don't always come on this podcast if you get invited.
Nah, it's been super fun.
Well, it's been good seeing you.
Yeah.
And hope your wedding experience is good. Tell Giancarlo said hey.
Yeah.
Give him a big wet kiss.
All right. Is that part of it?
What?
The wedding experience? Big white kiss?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's traditional.
Maybe I will go watch the White Lotus and
Yeah.
we'll have something to talk about next time. All right, Timmy.
All right. Godspeed.
God bless. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.